elite
I
mixed
can
martial
discuss
arts.
the main event with you. Don't act like
great.
you got to move on for that.
I want to talk about you. I would like to talk about you.
Talk about the main event. I saw it
we'd
too.
like to talk about you.
Please
Now joining us, mixed martial arts commentator extraordinaire, former professional fighter, host of SiriusXM Fight Nation's Unlocking the Cage. The great Jimmy Smith is with us.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I get to announce it now also, as of today, play-by-play commentator for Pro Box TV. So I'm jumping into doing boxing. Got that gig signed this morning. So that I start this week. Another great thing.
Congratulations.
So
always be closing.
Continue.
Always be closing.
Continue with the praise.
Well, that's good that takes away one of my questions in terms of any irons in the fire. So that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I was going to get into the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Who do you like? I mean, there's a lot.
You can keep going with the Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross quotes that lose everybody under 30. Yeah. Or we can talk about the quarterback situation. Justin Fields' more physical potential. And my good friend is a Bears fan, and she was just visiting. And I was like, she goes, "Oh, of course it's gonna be great with you guys. Of course, it's going to be wonderful with you." So, yeah, an upside in terms of physical talent. We just have a lot to work out when it comes to the quarterback situation, for sure. It's going to be one of those seasons.
Yeah, I think it is for the Patriots as well. But the great Jimmy Smith is with us. It's really good to hear your voice. Certainly, we've been ingesting your work from afar, but great to have you on these airwaves. So how is life? Are you still in South Florida? How's fatherhood and all that?
Oh, man, I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, about to be a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. So their birthdays are like 9 days apart. So yeah, there's that. It's been crazy busy, man. The ups and downs of this business and all that stuff. But South Florida's been good, man. South Florida's been good for me in terms of where to get gigs and everything. Once again, Pro Box TV, they shoot out of Tampa. So it's, a 3-hour drive every other Wednesday to go up there and do the shows. And then they shoot a boxing show here, a 2 times a week boxing show for an hour in Deerfield, which is, as you know, 20 minutes from us or something like that. So, yeah, it's been a good location, man. But yeah, keeping up with training and all the fun stuff. You know how it is, man.
And Unlocking the Cage is 5 days a week, correct?
No, now it's 2 days a week, which gives me room to do other stuff. It was 5 days a week, and then they moved it to Monday and Friday.
All right.
So I do, basically pre-fight and post-fight. And then this gig fills up the middle of the week. The show I do shoots every other Wednesday is a live show, and then the studio shows are Tuesday and Thursday. So yeah, my week just got filled up, which is awesome.
All right, so it's not because you praised Kenny Florian that we put you on the program, but you did acknowledge
exactly why you put me on.
That's
exactly 100%. Kenny's like, no, I make no pretense of why Jimmy's on the show. I praise Kenny Florian. That's exactly why. That's why. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Hey, my twin brother was like, maybe you should give Jimmy Smith a segment. I was like, well, let's see how he does on fucking Monday,
Dude, just give me the target and let me roll. No, but seriously, all joking aside, anytime somebody brings up the, best fighter not win a title in the UFC, I always think Kenny, because I think Kenny's skill set at the time was unbelievable. It took 2 legends, and Sean Shirk is one of those guys where your modern fan might not know who Sean Shirk is. That dude was a monster. His window was a little small. We know about him getting suspended, doping violations. His window was kind of small, but Jesus, what a monster back then at 150. I'm telling Kenny Florian what a monster he was. But yes, an absolute monster. So that's why I always put Kenny at the top of the list, because it took 2 legends, BJ Penn and Jose Aldo, and then a monster in Sean Shirk to keep him out of a title run. So that's
he was all natural too, dude. That's the thing.
I know, right?
He was just
every 155 pounder is
he's on my all natty team for sure. No question.
Seriously. All right. Now that we can all talk about it, because we have some hindsight here, there were always those guys where people who weren't in the sport went, "Do you think he?" I go, "What do you think that is?" They don't know, and they're like, "Does he?" And I go, "What the?" No, we all have muscles bulging out of the sides of our necks, like a young Vitor. You look at young Vitor and you go, Jesus Christ, how did you function? It's absurd. And we all knew it when we were there, but it's so funny to hear people who aren't into it and don't know. You're like, yeah, of course, he's juiced out of his head.
I'll never forget weighing in and doing the face-off with him and being like, dude, I'm taller than him. He's not that big. I'm looking at him like, this dude's not that big. This is great. I'm going to do great tomorrow. And I get in the cage and I look across and I'm going, who the hell is that guy? It looked like he tripled in size. And I'm like, oh God, what did I do? What did I do?
And one of those guys, man, you feel, and there are certain guys like they look strong, like Jacare. I got to train with Jacare. And then you grab him and you go, oh my God, he's stronger than he looks. You just go, you look strong, and you're stronger than that in real life. Yeah, I'm sure Sean Shark must have been one of those guys who go, Jesus.
Unfortunately, he was just as strong as he looked. Yeah, he was very strong.
Unreal.
Dude, so what do you think about this main event? And do you think that Fior can be a champion of that division?
She can. The problem is the ones at the top, and I mean that by Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko, can do everything, and they do it really, really well. I think the problem we saw with Erin Blanchfield is, yeah, you have a great ground game. You really do have that. The rest of the MMA mix isn't quite developed 100%, and you're in the top 5. And the way I look at it at this level is playoff football. Like, okay, wow, you're 14-2 in the regular season. That's great. Wonderful. Fabulous. Can you beat the playoff teams that can do a lot of things? They'll find the weaknesses in your game. And the problem with Valentina and Alexa Grasso is they don't have a lot of weaknesses in their game. Fiorot can. I don't think a lot of fighters let her bounce in and out. What she's really at her best is bouncing around on the outside. She's quick. She has a good right hand, good lead, power punches. But no one's going to let her stay at sniper's range the whole time. Once she gets past that next level, obviously a title contender, the current champion, whoever she fights next, isn't going to allow her that distance the entire time. You'll get windows of it, right? And I think that's just across sports, period, is the windows of opportunity to get smaller and smaller and smaller, right? College to the pros to the Super Bowl. And it's the same thing in MMA. And so that's what we're looking at, is how many fighters are going to let her stay at her range that she wants from here on out.
I know obviously we have UFC 300 coming up, but I guess we can go a little bit past that for whatever has been announced. But what's the fight out there that you're most excited about?
Here's an interesting one that I find intriguing, and I'll explain why. Bo Nickal's next fight will test whether anyone can have an international wrestling career and have time to get good in MMA. And I think that's kind of on trial. And I think a lot of people don't realize it, that, there was a time in the early days of MMA where you could have, college wrestling, and then you could have an international career, and you're 27, 28, and you could go to MMA and do well. Now you're hearing a lot of guys go, I got to choose between making a run at the Olympics or MMA. You can't do both, because now a 27-year-old wrestler, I don't care how good you are, that skill set of having to pick all that up, you don't have the years to do it. Now, people are talking about Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo never wrestled in college. He fought in, he didn't fight. He competed in the Olympics. He's 21. So he had time to turn around and have an MMA career. Bo Nickal had a bit of an international career. He ran into, David Taylor, so he's never going to make an Olympic team. So then he came back to MMA. Whether somebody can have that full international career and be 26, 27 and go, I'll try MMA. Bo Nickal is testing that right now. And his success will determine whether or not other people, Gable Stevensons of the world, who want to do well internationally and may want to continue a little bit longer, do that, or they come to MMA. So to me, that's why that fight is so intriguing to me. Can somebody do it coming in comparatively late like they could 10, 15 years ago?
We were talking last week about a select few UFC athletes, Khamzat Chimaev, Bo Nickal. I even talked about Raul Rosas Jr. as just having this electricity about them. Like, I didn't even bat an eye when Bo Nickal was leading off the pay-per-view, Jimmy Smith, because I don't care who he who he fights against. When Bo Nickal makes that walk in front of a pay-per-view audience, in front of that audience at T-Mobile Arena, I don't know, man. He's on the short list for me of guys that just take it to that next level.
No promoter got rich telling you what to watch. They get rich reacting to what you respond to.
Yeah.
And I was in the WWE when Vince McMahon would go, how'd the house shows go this weekend? And they went, well, so-and-so's really getting over. They really like him. Okay, turn him face. That's it. It's how are the fans reacting to him? They like this. All right, keep doing that.
Yeah, right.
And it's not, no, we're going to make sure they fit this mold that we want. The crowd wants this, give them that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And that's the end of the decision process. So many fans, it's hilarious to me. Why doesn't this person who deserves or earns or right and wrong, hey, who are the fans responding to? This person, they're not as good. Show it up, and set fire to it, because that doesn't draw money. What draws money is fans' reaction. And Bo Nickal, as you said, has that charisma, right? Now, it's a matter of how far can he go. That's an academic discussion that is much, much deeper. How far can Khamzat Chimaev go when he has trouble past the second round? Those are tactical discussions that are very different than what do fans react to? Because they will react to Bo Nickel, Khamzat Chimaev, Raul Rosas Jr. for sure.
Some fans suggest, or some pundits suggest, that Kayla Harrison, Alex Pineda, Bo Nickel, high-level specialists really seem to attract and have sort of a magneticism with the fan base. Do you subscribe to that theory at all?
There's a can they do it here attitude, right?
Yeah,
There's a man, they've been really dominant. Yeah, you won 2 Olympic gold medals in judo. Can you do it here? And there's that idea of the unknown, of they didn't come up through this sport necessarily. And so it's a little bit of a throwback. It's a little bit of a, can they duplicate this? And I think that question in people's minds means a lot. Also, they are used to a microphone in your face at the Olympics. They are used to high level competition where, a lot of people that came up through MMA and, you're fighting in a local show and you're suddenly in the UFC, you don't necessarily have the gift of gab. You don't have the charisma. You're not used to this high level stuff. Bo Nickel against Iowa pinned the guy with a spladle and jumped up and went, yeah, Iowa crowd. You're used to that pressure. You're used to that kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the thing. I think that, if you ask any college wrestler over the last, 10 or 15 years, any college wrestling fan, hey, do you know who Bo Nickel is? Yeah, absolutely. They know who Bo Nickel is. So they're going to turn in to watch, see how this wrestler that they followed for years does in MMA. Same thing. If you do judo, do you know who Kayla Harrison is? Yeah, I know who Kayla Harrison is, right? Do you know, if you follow kickboxing, you're a kickboxer, you know who Alex Pereira is? Yeah. So they bring in everybody from their sport, right, to go in and watch. And that's a big reason for it as well, for sure.
And I think the MMA fans go like, who is this person who's so big in this thing? Right?
Yeah.
There's the negative, which is a positive.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, I didn't watch wrestling. Who's this Bo Nickel? I hope he gets smashed.
Right.
This punk who has... I love it, man. Love me, hate me, don't ignore me is what these guys bring, because either you're a fan of them from before or you don't know who they are and why they're getting all this hype. Every time I see the hate for Bo Nickel, opening up UFC 300, I go, you're writing him a check right now. You're writing him checks with your hatred, and it's great. And if you're a fighter, you got to know that. You got to know it.
Combat sports commentator Jimmy Smith with us here on the Anik and Florian podcast, our former colleague. And by the way, Ken Flo is this nice guy everybody loves. Look at this asshole, Jimmy, right? This is his, this is Kenny when he was like 17. Sorry, Kenny.
Wow.
Right? He's like, Mom, I don't want to go get my picture taken for the soccer all-star team, right?
Late puberty, huh? Late puberty. Hit you a little late.
Dude,
So
late.
late.
Everything in my life was late. That's the story of my life. Yeah.
Dude, I'm going totally off topic here, but I don't care. My family, my dad's side of the family, I was talking to my wife about, she would ask me these questions. Animals, like full beards in high school, hillbillies from Kentucky, just animals. And she goes, it's weird. Our son has these huge hands, these big feet. And I go, I go, my daughter's 4. She's like this tall. She just towers over every other kid. I'm like, my
That's
wife
great.
is my height, damn near my height. And she was that tall at 14.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh my God, my daughter's going to look 20. She's going to be 12. I looked like this, like in high school. I just kind of look like this. And it has its ups and it has its downs. Cause like grown men would like want to fight me. And I'm like, assuming I was like 35. I know, dude, I'm 16, bro. What are you doing hanging out in high school? Dude, I go here. I go to school here. I don't know what to tell you. Because it's not everything's cracked up to me, man.
That's funny. All right, so I want to throw this one at you. A couple more minutes here with Jimmy Smith. So one of our longtime listeners, Bruce Marshall, wrote me this question, and I've been accused of being hyperbolic at times, and I think guilty as charged. Happy Easter. My one criticism of MMA is the hyperbole created at times, like great respect for Luque and Buckley, but let's not start anointing Joaquin Buckley the next one on that performance. Rare athlete, but against better talent, I don't see great success. Looking forward to the pros take. And I think Bruce, as a longtime listener, Jimmy, is worried, and probably it's well-rooted, that I'm going to come on here today and be like, dude, I'm fucking telling you, Joaquin Buckley's a man. Dude's going to be, and I do tend to sometimes get a little bit too hyped and away from fact when I get excited about something. So what'd you make of Joaquin Buckley, and what do you make of that as a greater theme?
All right, number one, I thought Joaquin Buckley had the best performance of his career against the biggest veteran of his career. I think Vicente Luque, and we've all seen it, all three of us have seen it, just leave me alone. Right. There was a little bit of just leave me alone. I didn't get the sense of I can get in there, this young buck, and I can do something. Yeah. It was more leave me alone and get out of my face, and I'll give up rounds. And I just saw Vicente Luque not using his offense the way he should. And if you don't stop a guy like Joaquin Buckley, who has incredible physical talent, he's confident, he's young, trying to build his career, he's never going to get off you. Okay, number one. Number two, it's our job as commentators to get you excited about what you're seeing. If we go over the top, fine. It's an oversell is better than an undersell. Yeah. If we're going to oversell and then you walk off the lot, that's not our problem. It's our job to, oh my God, this is amazing. You can agree, you can disagree. But that moment of excitement is what makes you watch the next fight, whether you agree with me or not. So I hear that all the time, the hyperbole, he's over the top. Dude, he's selling the excitement of what is happening in front of you. And if you disagree with it, fine. But it's always better to get excited and hyped in that moment. There are all these times like we are having right now where we're going to analyze like crazy, we're going to break it down. That is the time for sober reflection. During the fight itself, it is our job to get you excited about what you're seeing. So, Anik, you do an amazing job at that, 100%. And there's no other way to say it.
You're the man. Jimmy Smith, you can listen to him on SiriusXM Fight Nation's Unlocking the Cage YouTube channel is popping as well. And on Instagram, it is at JSmithMMA. We might just have to create a little segment for you. We'll see if your rate is prohibitive, but we appreciate
You know what I'm talking. You know what it is. You already know this. Okay. Thank you. I'm here for you guys anytime. Appreciate you both, man.
You're the best.
You're the man, dude.
There he is on Instagram at JSmithMMA. Jimmy Smith with us here on the Anik and Florian podcast. Ray Longo coming up in about a minute. But as many of you know, the thrill and excitement of March Mania continues, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. We have arrived at the last four standing, ladies and gentlemen, for our listeners and viewers in North Carolina, for whom DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state. We told you last week, NC State, biggest underdog long shot to win it all, 90-1, still alive. Story of the tournament. They'll now face Purdue as 9-point underdogs coming up this weekend. And of course, also on DraftKings this weekend is UFC Fight Night, Allen versus Curtis 2. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, get in the game, use code AFPOD. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code AFPOD. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/bball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.